back. Cheers.
Cheers. Here we are again.
Episode
13.
Yeah.
Rounding out Perseverance.
Rounding out Perseverance. We got some little summary, and then
Okay.
we'll go into the good stuff.
Okay.
We're struggling a little bit today
Yeah.
with, like, we don't think we're funny today, so we're gonna... We're persevering
We should
anyway.
have started this an hour and a half ago, and we've been
Right.
sitting here trying to figure out the balance between giving you enough content that you feel like it's worth clicking, as my daughter says, and yet still being lighthearted and funny.
Right, which is how we are.
And some days are easier than others.
Yeah. I don't know why today's weird.
And not that I
didn't have a bad day.
Me neither. I was just going to say that. It's not like I'm having like this trial.
No.
That I just don't feel as funny.
So
as
we're
normal.
just charging ahead.
We are just persevering humorly.
Yes, we are. We're going for it.
today.
You know what? I should have worn my pink bracelet. That's the problem.
That's it. Pink bracelet, the pink. I went all pink. It was the shoes.
You did. It's cute.
I know I held my
About
foot
the
up, so I
shoes.
won't do it again because I need to not do that
about the
anymore. But I
shoes.
wore the shoes again, and the pink just makes me feel
It,
vibrant.
it is. It's really pretty
It
on
is.
you.
It's vibrant. And redheads don't usually do pink, for what it's worth.
I know, but I
Like
think
it's a
you look good
color
in
that
pink.
we struggle with normally, but if it's a
Why is that?
we're so fair. So if it's a fair pink,
Then it's okay.
it's terrible because it looks
Oh,
fleshy. Like if
'cause
it's
then
like
it's
a
like-
pastel pink.
I
But if
see.
it's like a bold
like
pink,
more fuchsia.
then it's almost like our fair skin can get away with it. We can't do peaches because our
Yeah,
skin
'cause
is
it
so
just
fair.
blends.
So it just
Yeah.
looks like
I can't do peaches either.
neutral, and then
red.
it doesn't look good.
I can't do red. Do you wear red?
Crazy enough, I can't. I need bright
wear
color
red.
because we're so fair. So I can do greens and blues and reds and hot pink. I think the
Yeah.
brighter colors.
I wear bright color, like deep colors, but
Yeah,
good with
you
my
wear
skin,
deep-
but
yeah.
not red.
And
Nothing red. 4th of July comes, and I'm like, I don't know.
You're wearing nothing, blue and white.
Yeah, blue and white.
Red bandana.
Yeah. I put stuff on the dog. Like, oh, there you go.
All right,
go.
all right.
We're gonna persevere.
We go back to
Okay.
it.
What
We
are
are
we doing?
rounding out Perseverance,
There
and
we
we've
go.
been talking about the Shunammite Woman.
We've been talking about the Shunammite
So
Woman
let's-
and her. She had so many points, actually.
She did.
Like it was cool to sort of dig in and get what.
I'll be funny, maybe not.
What are you gonna say? I think.
Something came to me. So we were talking about the Shunammite Woman this whole time. So my husband, again, he's been so good about playing these in the background to try to amp up our hours of watch. And so the podcast is in the background the other day, and he knew we were talking about the Shunammite Woman. Well, then, fast forward a couple nights, we're in bed. I get hot flashes. So the house
No.
is so cold
Yeah,
because
right.
I'm always getting hot flashes, and he is always
Yeah.
freezing. Like,
Yeah, Rodney's always like,
you know, and
"Why
I'm like,
is it so
shiver. And I'm like, seriously, get over it. So we climb into bed, and he's like huddled in the side of the bed, literally shivering. And I'm having hot flashes. I'm a little irritated. And I lean over and I snuggle him a little bit, which, again, if anybody knows
You're
me,
not a snuggler.
I am not a snuggler.
Yeah,
I'm
me
not
either.
an affectionate person. I don't
Yeah.
hold hands. I'm just not.
Yeah.
And he like relaxes and he says, "Oh, you're Shunammite-ing me." And I said, what? And he's like, the Shunammite woman. And I said, cuddling you? The Shunammite woman didn't
She didn't
cuddle
cuddle.
anybody. And he's like,
Elisha did.
he said, no, she did with David. When David was sick, the Shunammite woman came in and slept with David to warm him up. And I'm like, what are you talking about?
That's
So he gets up out of bed and he's like, David. And I was like, I vaguely remember that story.
What the heck?
It's the
That's
second
the same-
Shunammite woman,
No.
not the same woman. So I had to go back
Clearly.
and look. But clearly these
Clearly
women
it's not
from
the same.
Shunem are like legit. So she was a Shunammite woman, which David
Yes,
was before
I-
Elisha. So
right,
that's a
right.
long time before.
Right,
When David,
right,
Solomon,
right.
like we're way down. And there, when David was cold and sickly in
when
bed,
he was,
they
when he was
called
dying,
in
like he was old.
the Shunammite woman to sleep with him to keep him warm. And I
Not
never
sleep, sleep.
connected. No, not sleep, like cuddle.
like
that was why Sean's like, you're Shunammite-ing me. And I was like,
Leave it to Sean to
To
add
Shunammite
to
me.
our Shunammite
and then I
woman
was
story.
like, that can't be the same person. Like I vaguely remember the story. I'm like, are you sure
I
that's the
remember the
Shunammite?
sto- yeah.
And he's like, yeah. So like we have to get up and like look it up because now I'm like,
And now we're all hot.
yeah. So no more Shunammite in our house. Because now I'm like researching who the second Shunammite woman is. But both of them are called the Shunammite woman. So both clearly were
But
from
if you
Shunem.
Google or whatever the Shunammite woman, you get our Shunammite.
You get our Shunammite. But there is a Shunammite
Look at
woman
us.
that warmed David.
Yes, I remember the woman that comes in and.
So now we've made it a verb.
There's some other things we've made for-
Shunammiting tonight?
We should be careful. The last time we did this, we got in trouble with a board member.
No more Shunammiting.
You can't say the flex.
Shunammiting.
We
Say
can't
fletch.
say fletch.
I'm really limiting my vocabulary
I
now.
don't know.
That's
I
funny.
like
So anyways,
making-
isn't that interesting?
I did not.
I know. I'm sorry.
Thanks, Sean.
There's
Yeah,
Sean.
cheers. We'll have you on as a legend
Yeah,
one day.
one day.
When we allow men. Huh. Who knew?
So 2 Shunammite women didn't make the
I
connection.
did not.
I know. Me neither.
That's good.
Crazy. Okay. Anyways,
Only Sean.
give us the
Thanks to the hot flashes.
thanks to the hot flashes in my. And I was only Shunamiting him, so he would stop shaking and go to sleep, so I could
So
go
you
to
can't
sleep.
sleep. Yeah.
It would just he'd be over there, and I'm like, just stop. And so I was like literally like cuddling with him to warm him up, and he was like, oh, and I was like,
you're
no,
so sweet.
just so you stop, so I
Yeah.
can go to bed. So, anyways.
Okay, so here's the first comment based on that. God takes us to desperate places.
I will spoon you just so I can get some sleep.
God takes us to desperate places
So true.
with our persevering.
Oh,
It changes our prayer life,
that did.
which is very true. I mean, I think so much, but
do.
I was in a staff meeting today and they were laughing at me saying, I
I
think.
think.
It does change my prayer life.
Yes.
I've been contemplating that, and it does change my.
Contemplating.
So okay, God sees Sean's
Expound
buried
on that.
dreams.
Like, why does it make you? Like, what do you say?
Like we go to a more desperate place. You sort of look at God and go, I'm not going to talk about my child over there that's not dead but passed out, and especially kid pain. I think it just takes you to a totally different place where you're like, only God can fix this, and I have to go. I mean, I love that she was like beeline to the feet of
Jesus,
God,
yeah.
right? You know, I mean, that was like all she cared about. So, and I think I don't have anything that desperate. I really, we talked about this
Right.
once upon a time. I don't even remember before or after, but I haven't had like a life that has set me in that place so many times. And we want to be respectful of people that are in a situation like that. But I think it just over goofy stuff, it takes you sometimes it's a financial thing. Sometimes it's your spouse is traveling. I mean, it can be all kinds of things, but
Do you have a place in your life that you think of when you were desperate for Jesus? Like the times in your life that you were like, whew, like I was on my knees.
yeah, I mean, Rodney and I were supposed to get married, and we ended up in this huge fight over something, and he was traveling, and I didn't know what to do. I did not know what to do. I didn't even go into church, but I drove to church, and I sat in the parking lot, and I was just like, God, I don't know what to do. I have no idea what you want me to do. I've laid this all out for you. I thought this is what you wanted me to do. I thought we were supposed to get married. And I just bawled probably for an hour in the church parking lot. I mean, I was too scared to even go in. That goes back to my Catholic hurt stuff, right? I mean, I was like, I didn't know what to do. And so I just sat there in the parking lot and I'm like, Jesus, I need you to step in and tell me what to do. And I really did. That was one time, I remember that peace, that I could never possibly explain. It's like, it's going to be okay. He's going to come home tomorrow and it's going to be fine. But, and obviously 30 years later.
30 years later.
Yeah, close to 30 years later it is. But that was just one of those very desperate, I don't know what to do. I didn't want to tell my parents, right? I couldn't tell anybody at work. I didn't want to tell, I was like, oh my God, I've made this huge disaster of this. What's going to happen? So, what about you?
Yeah, a couple. I mean, and that's why I even asked, I think I can instantly go to the place where I was most desperate for Jesus. Like there have been 2 or 3 times in my life where I can't think of any other word than desperate. Literally, I am desperate for Jesus. We went through some things maritally in our marriage and some health issues, and there was a moment where same thing. I mean, I know where I was, kind of that thing. I was sitting on the couch in front of a fireplace at 3 a.m. Sean and the kids were all sleeping, and there was this, Lord, I literally can't do anything else.
Yeah.
I've tried it all.
Yeah.
And I cannot, and I don't know how to get up tomorrow and keep going the way that it is. And there was, I mean, just a desperate cry. And that's one of the, two really times where I audibly heard the Lord. Like, and again, I'm in a room by myself at the fireplace. People talk about this. I'm always like, I don't really hear the Lord. But this was one of those that, like, there was a voice. And when I talk about it or share the story, I always say it almost had to be a voice because I was so desperate I couldn't hear anything else.
Right.
Like the still small voice in there. It wasn't Mr. Frosty, although
we love Mr. Frosty.
Could be. Ice cream solves a lot of things. I don't think it could have been a friend speaking wisdom because I was beyond
You're past that. That's how I was.
It couldn't have been a gut feeling because I was beyond that. There was such a level of desperation that if it wouldn't have been audible, I don't know if I would have been able to take the step that he asked us to do, which was coming to Florida. I don't know if I could have done that without that audible voice. So that was one. And then with Creed, there was a point with Creed when we were really going through some stuff that I was like, Lord, I don't know. I mean, we've exhausted thoughtfully. Do we move schools? Do we switch this? Do we go to this? You know, I couldn't come up with any more solutions than what we already came up with, and it's kid pain. So it's just constantly on you. There is a heaviness that weighs on you when your kids are going through things or doing things, and that you're unable to control it.
Right. Well, and remember when Tatiana was pregnant with Joanna, I mean, that was, so she was pregnant, you know, I was in the meetings where, like, with the doctors, you know, baby's not going to live. If she lives 3 minutes, that'll be a miracle. Maybe 3 days at the most. And end of the story is she's
beautiful and amazing
now, and she's amazing. But I don't know why I knew that she was going to be fine.
So that one didn't seem to stress you much.
It did at first, but I mean, I was like, oh my gosh, she already has 3 stepkids, which she doesn't call stepkids, but so like she was probably only going to have 1 baby, right? And so it was like just such a, like watching her have to deal with that and watching everything that she was going through and having her try to do everything, like that part for a short period of time really stressed me. Like I don't know what to do except ask every single person that I know to pray. But it was only because I then like got on my knees and was like, you can't do this way. Like I don't know what you're gonna do, but this isn't gonna work for me. And God really just, like, it was the Lord saying, it's gonna be fine. I got this. And it was, you know, and it was, but it was very hard to walk in that when everybody around me was saying, you're out of your mind. Right. I think that for me, that the couple times that this has happened to me, it's been very difficult for me to quiet all the noise around me and not then be rude about it. Right. Because I sort of want to go, but the Lord told me.
Right.
I'm like, well, everybody says that. And I'm like, no, but like this, like, I know this is what's supposed to happen. So,
yeah, that's good. And in perseverance, sometimes I think the persevering is our mental,
for sure.
You know, because that's where we go crazy, is in our mind. When we have the time and the ability and we sit and we dwell on it and we think about it, and then our mind spirals out of control, which is where, you know, the verse that comes in and says, have the mind of Christ. It's the mind that you have to persevere through. It's like the minefields. Like, and it is quieting all the other noises, quieting all the other stuff, listening to the Lord. And there are times when you feel like you can't hear the Lord. I mean, how many times have we all said that? Like, my prayers are going to the roof, you know? And so the perseverance sometimes is just the mental, all is well.
I love that you say that.
Shunammite, all is well. Like, it isn't.
Well, and so often I will try to take action. Right? And not deal with the mental, because the action keeps me away from having to deal with the mental.
Right, for sure.
So I keep running over here, and then it's not all well over there.
Right.
So yeah, it's easy. That's good.
So, perseverance.
Okay. God sees our buried dreams. And we were discussing whether we have any. I'm really not sure. Like, I'm not a regret person. But I don't like if God stepped in right here, right this second. Jesus is sitting here with Mr. Frosty. What, like, do you think he'd find something? I really don't know the answer to that. Like, is it so buried, or do I not have any?
Well, and that's it. I don't know if I have any. I have lots of goals, so I don't think those are buried. Like, if I look to the future,
for
I
sure,
think,
exactly.
I want to do all this. I haven't done it yet.
Like she hadn't talked about it.
But, like, I don't think there's anything in my past that I'm like,
I wish I'd done that.
I wish I would have done little stuff. I mean, wish I would have gone on
like not
vacation
having
earlier.
a child,
right?
or
I wish
something.
I would have. I always tease and throwing it out there. I went straight from my parents' house to college, and I went to a conservative Christian college that you had to live on campus. So I went from my parents to a dorm for 4 years, and then I graduated and married Sean. So I've never lived on my own, ever. Yeah. I'm 52, and I've never lived on my own. And so there is a regret, if I call it a regret, of I knew I was going to marry Sean, whether I married him now or in a year.
Right. Could you
I wish I would have taken a year to just live with friends, go to New York,
do the girly
do
thing.
the stuff. Like,
Right.
never, so like, those things I can look at and be like, I wish I would have done that.
But that's not like a buried
But that's not like a
dream.
buried dream, right? Because I'm not going to be like, well, I hope Sean falls.
Like, do you wish you had 6 kids instead of, I don't know.
No.
I don't live like that. So I don't know. God would have to tell me.
Yeah,
We're going to pray about that.
But I don't know.
Don't you want to know if there's one?
No, because then that would mean
But maybe God knows and you don't.
I didn't follow the Lord because there was something that was in me and I didn't act on that. So then it's a buried
But maybe
thing.
it hasn't sprouted
But
yet.
then I think that would be a goal. And then I'm
true.
all
It's
about
not buried.
goals. Right. But buried things mean, I think,
Yeah.
if it's buried,
Okay.
then I
I'll
didn't
give you
act
that.
on it with the Lord. And so then I'm going to have regret. And then I'm going to be
You
like,
pushed
I
it
didn't
down.
obey the Lord. And
But do you think she didn't obey about the thing? Maybe bury is the wrong word. Although it flows with our seeds and flourishing and being a fruitful thing.
but that's different than a buried dream then. I think that's...
Yeah. I don't like that language,
Yeah,
buried
'cause-
dream. Because I don't think I have buried dreams. I think I have... Like, I don't live with like a regret of I wish I had done something.
And I don't think she was living with that.
I don't either.
I think there was a part of her that was like, gosh, it would have been nice if I'd had kids. But no doubt, she was serving the Lord and busy and doing stuff
I
and
don't think she
had a
was thinking.
fulfilled life.
She didn't even think about it.
No,
Just
so
ask.
I don't think this was
forget it.
something where she
Ask.
was...
We're getting rid of that
No
one.
buried dreams. So.
No buried dreams. We don't have them. There's no
Uproot
such
them,
thing.
Make them goals.
There's
and
buried
there's no
seeds,
such
maybe,
thing.
but no buried dreams.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
There you go.
Okay, fine.
I'm sure somebody will let us know if we're
Way off base.
theologically correct on that or incorrect, but
There's doxology and foxology.
Fox.
What's the other word of it?
Foxology.
No, it's not doxology. It's something else. Whatever.
the thong on your mouth.
Whatever. Yeah.
Thongology.
There's been thongs going by.
The advantage of doing podcasts at the beach.
At the beach
sometimes
in the
you
evening.
get-
Yes.
Beautiful
Lots of
displays
exposure. Modest
of-
is hottest, ladies.
Yes.
As my 9-year-old niece would say.
What did she say?
Modest is hottest.
Modest is hottest. That's a good phrase. Yeah, I like that.
Emily's 9. She's like, oh, did you see that, Aunt Kristin?
Modest is...
Expect the unexpected with God. These are just
Yes,
flowing so
flowing.
nicely. Expect a thong every
Expect
once
the
in a while.
thong to just come by.
Expect the unexpected with God. I liked the part about that I was thinking about that was like, don't limit his box, because often we pray and blah, 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 I want this to happen. And I do this about my kids' stuff all the time. Lord, if you could just help this happen, or if you could just help that happen. And I very much limit God's box. Don't just say, whatever.
Greatest prayer is when previous church that we went to, the pastor said he prays over his kids. His prayer is not specific, like I hope this and I hope that. And he said, although that's fine, you know, you can. He said, but my biggest prayer for them is that they hear the voice of God over all the other voices in their life.
Oh, that's good.
And I think when I'd heard that, that has become my prayer, because I'll do that too. If he just gets this internship, if they could just get this apartment, and if he just gets the right girlfriend, and if they just get the right job.
Right.
And I pray, and of course the Lord tells us to ask everything in my name, you know, so it's okay to put it out there. But I sometimes put it out there as like, this is the best.
This is what
I've decided, so you just need to make this happen, and I'm going to pray it.
You know, it's interesting. It's so funny because I don't think I've really necessarily prayed that over my children, but in my journal last week, I wrote that Abby was having, my son's girlfriend was having an issue on Friday night, and Saturday morning I wrote in my journal, I hope that Abby hears your voice loud and clear
that
over
crazy?
all the rest of us.
That's what he said one time.
And I never thought about
it
that.
was probably
Why don't I
15
pray
years
that over my
ago.
kids? I guess because I want to control them. Abby,
Yeah.
I'm much looser with.
Yeah, see? She's not actually.
Because I'm not responsible
I
for
don't
her.
have to take your decisions, good or bad. They're not on me. Yeah, it has become my
Interesting.
prayer. It's Lord,
Yeah, I
just let
love
them
that.
hear your voice.
Love
Because
that.
the reality is, if they're listening to God's voice, then whatever
we know?
job or house or
Right.
girlfriend or boyfriend is going to be better. So
What do we know? We
it
know
has
nothing.
just been,
Yeah.
and that's,
Yeah.
I mean, even when you talk about perseverance of the mind, it's the other voices. Your friends are doing this. Your friends have this job. Your friends are already dating. And they hear all this TikTok, social media. I mean, Hannah
know,
came
it's
home
so
yesterday
hard.
saying, "Oh my goodness, Mom, there's a draft." What do you mean there's a draft?
Yeah.
It's like they're recruiting everybody with the war. I'm going to get drafted. Honey, where TikTok?
There you go.
And so, I mean, he was genuinely like,
Yeah.
Mom, I have to be prepared for this. And I was like, honey, and again, not that it might not happen, but like,
Right.
we're
It
not
could
using
happen.
TikTok as our
only news source.
their voices.
And also, it paints this picture, and I think part of like the younger girls that I'm around, at least, and probably you with Bailey, it's like everything looks like you've got this little career happening, and you've got this spouse, and you've got you got the picket fence, you got the whole thing, and it's not like that.
not like that.
It looks like everything is sort of an uphill and to the right, and it's not. It's. I mean, my kids have had. One of them is 7 years out of school and had 4 jobs, and it's great.
Right.
Like, I would never say you have to have one job.
Right.
My dad told me I had to have one job. He said, you have one job your whole career.
Interesting.
Yeah. So, anyway.
Good.
Anyway.
Okay.
Let go and let God.
Yes.
All is well when you live like that.
What's hard for you to let go and let God? What do you struggle with the most?
Oh, gosh.
Letting go of kids.
I think kid stuff, yeah. I think probably, although I'm much better at that. I think now that they're older and have spouses and, in their situations, I'm much better at sort of, okay, they've got it going on over there. I can do my thing. I still have Andrew at home, and so that's probably the one that, and he's got the most up in the air career choice. So I think if I worry, it's probably, it's not even so much worry. It's just I'm having to watch him persevere, and I'm having to watch him go through some really hard times and challenges, and it's just hard to watch your kids go through pain
it is.
and let them and know. I mean, I keep saying, this is what God's plan was for you. This is what's happening. You know this, and he says, I know, but it still sucks.
Still hard.
Yeah. So yeah, I think that's probably. But we have a necklace that we share that says "Let go and let God." We probably should have worn that. One of us.
Much easier said than done.
Yes, much easier said.
And
than
you need to
done.
let go and let God. Sometimes, every minute.
For sure.
Like I'll let go and let God and be like, all right, I'm good.
Mm-hmm.
And then I pass a sign or the most random thing, and I'll pick that back up and carry that burden.
It is. It's like, but I don't want to let go of 100% of it. I'll keep this little 10% piece of that rock, and you deal with the rest.
That verse in 1 Peter says, cast all your cares upon him. And I think, if I genuinely would
Live like that.
cast all of my cares on him, could you imagine?
The
we
freedom?
would be so much funnier.
We would be funny.
We would be funnier.
Yeah, because we care about whether we're funny or
We
not.
care about whether or
All
not
we said is that if one person tells us that they got something out of it, we would do
do
the
it.
next week. And here we are looking at analytics. This is our problem.
I know. It is.
And you know what? It's getting better.
the analytics are getting good.
The analytics are getting better, but they're also getting better because I'm no longer dropping Tammie's phone and I'm not swearing.
And see,
I'm not
we've
saying-
made so much
Yeah.
progress.
So, it's all about us, really.
Yeah, it really is.
And so we'll see what happens. we don't have to be funny because
And
we think we're funny.
subscribe. We are just
Please
a few away
subscribe.
from 50 subscribers, which
Yep.
is our goal. So please help us by just subscribing. You don't even have to listen. Just subscribe. We don't care if you listen.
We don't care.
Just
We're
subscribe.
having a good time all by
We don't want
ourselves.
to
So
beat the demon people that are just a little
Yeah, we
bit
have
ahead
to
of
get
us.
above
We have to
us.
get ahead of them.
Yeah.
So,
But faith under pressure is a different kind of faith. So we should
It
just
is.
have faith
It is.
that God's got this. And when we're international, we're going to remember these moments
These
and
moments.
forget that we were these humble, serving Christian women talking to
Kind-hearted.
other Christian women wearing cool shoes,
Yes.
talking about
with our merchandise.
our merchandise. We made our hats
We
today.
do.
And, so
Yeah.
that's part of
Yeah.
it. We have to let God do it.
Yeah.
This would be a good example of we should just let God do it.
Let God, let go, let go, and let God. No more posts on Instagram.
Yeah,
I'm
we're
just
done.
letting go
We're
and
out.
letting God.
I think we should use the tools he's given us.
Yes, for sure.
Okay. What else
Faith
do we
under
have?
fire, though, we've talked about it before, but I pray so many times, Lord, help me be faithful without being under fire. Because I know the reality of I lean on Jesus more when things are tough.
Here comes the 2x4.
When there's something going on, you are just, desperate. I mean, that's the word I keep coming back to.
It is.
And I don't want to have something bad happen to make me desperate. So when the bad's not happening, I'm constantly like, Lord, please help me be desperate
we
for
just
you
have to go
without
from mountaintop to mountaintop to mountaintop. Like
please.
that's underneath the valley.
So then I stay passionate even without the.
But that is a prayer,
trying.
right? Like my dad had to get cancer to get Jesus, right? And so one of my prayers is consistently like, please let me avoid the 2x4.
Right.
Just let me hear the little part. So let me hear the little, okay, and be obedient in that so that I don't need
whacked.
A big, huge whack.
And that comes from truly staying in the Word.
Yeah.
Constantly. Staying around people. Mm-hmm. And that's not to say that the tragedy or the 2x4 still won't come.
Yeah.
But I think we handle it better, and then it doesn't feel like a 2x4,
right?
Because we're more prepared for it.
Right.
So there might be a tragedy or a 2x4, but it doesn't feel as heavy because you've stayed consistent when things are good.
That's very good. We should have Abide be a theme.
Abide would be a great theme.
That'd be a good thing.
Yeah.
Okay, she didn't wait for a command to serve. She saw an opportunity and did it. So I know you built a room on your house this week.
Yes, I did.
So that you could,
shoot there and ready.
You could Shunammite Sean.
Shunammite him out into the other room.
Shunammite Sean. So he has his own room to go Shunammite in.
Other room.
So, which is cool, right? I mean, thinking about that.
Yeah.
And then we can either be victims or servants.
Yeah.
In the midst of our own suffering.
And how many times did people become a victim?
Oh my gosh.
I mean, how you doing today? I'm like, oh my gosh, you're alive and you're breathing. Like,
you're here.
We fall, and I do the same thing.
Yeah, exactly.
How are you doing? Blah, blah, blah.
Let me tell you about
oh
this
my
trouble.
goodness. Yeah, all is well.
Right.
All is well.
Right. And it is well because of God's strength, not ours.
Not ours.
That was a little bit of a, right. That's why it's well.
Right.
So
because we did.
Not because I did anything.
That's good.
So
that's good stuff.
So that's our summary. What do you got for us over there?
I was going to go to our call to action just to wind out here. We only have a few minutes left. It would have been 2 weeks ago. We ended our lesson on the Shunammite woman with some calls to action. And so I just thought we could kind of close out today how we did on our call to action. And then if you guys listen to it and you want to tell us how you did,
let us know.
That would be great. So the first one was, and we talked about it a little bit, but where is God calling me to build space for him? That's a great question.
That's a great question.
So,
and I don't know that I've answered it.
Well, I don't know if I've answered. Over the last couple of weeks, I really have tried to say all is well. All is well. And we've had some big doozies come our way, and both personally and professionally. And I really have tried to say all is well. And in that, thinking about this a little bit, like, okay, Lord, where am I making space for you? I'm making space for you by not complaining. It's my husband's favorite verse. Do everything without complaining. Not complain about it.
Be a good legend.
That's been don't do it with complaining. And then I have to, and this is such a little strategic thing, but I have to do a better job of planning my days better. I feel like so much to get done. I pack meeting on meeting on meeting on meeting, and then I'm rushing. From the time I get up in the morning, I am at full speed. I'm speeding in the car to get to the next thing. I'm running out of the car,
and
tripping
we're running late
to get to this. And then I walk into every meeting going, I'm so sorry, I was caught in this. And just at a speed, and maybe it's just age, I don't want to be going that fast. And it's not that I want to be less impactful or do less. I just don't want to be running at that speed. In that running of the speed, that's a real thing, I'm missing opportunities with people because I don't have the time to. And so I'm missing the opportunities with Jesus. I'm not creating space for him even in my day.
Right. It's
Because
that margin
I am
we
it
talked
is,
about.
and I don't, so just, I mean, on the way here, I've been saying this so much to my husband that he's helping me. I'm like, obviously, I'm going to need help on this because I clearly can't do it myself because I've been saying it, and my days just keep getting filled. So I called my program manager and said, I think you're going to have to become my assistant for real and take over my calendar because I clearly can't say no.
And build stuff in.
Everything's important to me, so I just, out of the goodness of my heart, I think somebody wants to meet. And I'm like, oh, of course I'll meet with you. Of course, I'll meet. And I just pack them in.
Yeah.
So I literally have taken steps to say, I think you're going to have to take over my calendar for me. As most CEOs have administrative assistants.
Right.
I just never wanted to relinquish the control.
I don't. I
because
take care of
that
my
is
own.
my, I have control of my time and my calendar. And so.
But I do block out time on my calendar. Like I'm very good about, if it's on my calendar, I go to acupuncture once a week. And it's like, that's just, there's some things that I have to do to be able to function at the level I want to function. I do back myself up, back to back to back, which is such a bad habit.
So bad.
I eat lunch in my car. I eat lunch at my desk. And miss the opportunity to share and break bread with somebody.
Or see a sunset, or see a sunrise, or see a beautiful whatever. And those are the God moments that I'm not making space because I'm just plowing.
Yeah, and we're not, we talked about, how do you share the gospel with people at the coffee shop? Right? Like, are you kidding? I blow in and blow out of here. It's like, I don't want to, so it's, okay, so I need to make I probably
space.
Could make
That's
it
where I
work
need to
for
make
that.
some spaces. I need to, and I always go back to that book. I mean, one phrase, certain things will stick out to you, but in that book, The Unhurried Life, and he said, Jesus was a lollygagger. And I thought, and he said, you never see Jesus rushing. Yeah. And he did more in a day than I'll ever do in my life. And Jesus just had a slower gait even.
But
he didn't even
people
walk fast.
Around you think that you're not present?
I think so.
You do?
I do.
Huh. We should ask that question of people.
We should.
Because I do think...
Ooh, I don't know if I wanted the answer.
But I mean, I think for the most part, when I'm present, I'm pretty present. I may be rushing to the next thing. Like the people on the road don't think that I'm pleasant, or present because I'm texting. but I feel like when I'm with people, I don't think about, I got to get to the next thing. I feel like I'm relatively present.
I think you are. I think you are. I don't ever feel like you're not present with me.
Yeah, I don't think you are either.
I think I'm not always present. I mean, in the last meeting, I rushed here from the last meeting. I was not in that last meeting.
I know, you were doing Monday in that meeting.
Because I had to get it in. I was getting notifications that I hadn't done it. And I was like, I gotta get it in.
Meeting.
I know. So there are a lot of meetings that I'm not present.
But that's something I think that I have done a pretty good job at lately about saying, I'm not doing that.
Yeah.
That's not the... Like there are other people that are so much better at this situation than I am. I don't need to be in everything. Like that's a control thing.
You're good at that, and I got to get better. And you guys are good at it. As a board, really have been pushing me to do that
get
better.
Out of that.
But I think when it's space for God, that's where I need the space. Thankfully, I mean, I've had 50 years of I get up and I do my devotions and I have that. So I have my time with God, which is great.
But I think that's
But
different.
where I need to make space for Him is throughout my day.
Just hear from Him.
Give some time in between. And then my meetings are so different. I'll go from Christian Chamber meeting to a Revival 250 meeting to a coffee shop plumber to, so then I'm like, choo.
To the kids call.
Yeah, and so I don't,
me too.
I need to, anyways, that's a long answer. That's where I need to make space.
But I do think, I was in a really good habit before I walked into every meeting and I just said, Holy Spirit, I need you to lead me. And I was in such a good habit of that, and gosh, does that make a difference? It's like, just lead me. This is just...
That is convicting. I did not do that.
And so maybe that's okay for us. But I do think it does take time and energy to figure out who you're going to say no to and say, you know what, there are other people that are actually better at this than me. And
it goes back to pride.
For sure.
It is absolutely pride.
For sure.
I mean, I can honestly say, I think it's because I can do it better, faster, quicker, better, whatever.
But people in my office are so much better at the stuff that they do than me. I'm so useless there. It's not even funny. It's You know what I think we should do next time? This is teaser time. We're doing calling. And we should talk about our callings.
We could talk about our callings.
Like, because nobody really knows what you do or what I do. We just...
Well, on our life one, we'll talk about what
The
we do.
first one.
Yeah,
I think we
it's our
should
life,
sort of
what
interview
we're
each
called
other.
to do.
Yeah, I think we should sort of interview each other and talk about our calling.
I think that's a great idea.
Teaser time.
Tune in.
Yes, tune in.
You will hear our calling, what we are called to do.
Yeah, that would be good.
Primary and secondary.
Because I think people don't know.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Am I trusting him even when things seem dead?
Oh, we should nix that one. No, yes. This is the hard thing about... We've had a couple situations just in our work experience together where is it dead because God wants it to be dead, or is it dead because it might look like it's dead and God still wants us to do it? And you've counseled me many times from my calling perspective in my world, and I think we've done some in your world together, or I've counseled you on it, where it's just, is it dead or not?
Right.
What does God want us to do?
And this is one of those, and if you're going through this in your life, a moment of making a decision that in my heart of hearts, if God would just speak out loud and say, like we're talking about the Murray Hill, so we have a coffee shop, a location we opened that's not doing great financially. Ministerially, it's killing it. It's doing great ministry, not doing well financially. It's really hurting the whole organization because it's just sucking the money out of the accounts. And every day I get up and I'm like, Lord, if you just want us to close it, just say it, I'll close it. Like, I'll close it, I'm good, like we'll close it. If you want me to keep it open, I'll keep it open. And then I'm just teetering in this, is it, I need to just dig my heel, stand firm. You know, there's the verse that talks about stand
run your
again,
race.
stand firm. Like you just keep standing.
And you run your race.
So there is a theological moment where I can go in to say, no, we're standing firm and God's going to show up, and I can have the faith to do that if that's the right call. Then there is also a time to wipe the dust from your feet. Like I can find you a verse for both.
Get rid of
I can
your sandals.
find you a theology, right?
Yeah.
Wipe the dust from your feet and walk away. There are times that you let go of friends, you let go of businesses because they're not
You
right.
fire people, right?
You fire people. So if it's letting go of that, I'm good with that too. And I can rationalize it. I can give me a theology behind it. And both could be right.
I know.
What do you do in that?
He has not been clear.
He has not been clear. So when you're talking about when it's dead, I struggle with this one because I'm like, it's dead. Murray Hill's dead. It is dead. I don't know what to do with that.
It is dead. We can prove that it's dead.
It is dead. I can show you the
There's
finances.
no money.
It is dead.
But, like, do you think that if God doesn't give you a clear answer, that means you keep going? I think I err on that.
I think we both err.
Yeah,
on
we're
that.
probably the bad people to interview on that.
We probably need to bring somebody not like us.
Exactly.
Because you and I think
and they go,
exactly.
absolutely stop.
You and I just go.
Just
Always
keep going
let it
until
down,
God
go.
stops it. Yeah, that's true.
So
Probably we're
I
not good
err on this side of just keep going
Until God slams the door.
until you cannot go anymore.
Yeah.
I also go that way in every capacity because at some point I'm just going to have to stand before the Lord. I'm going to eventually have a last breath and stand before the Lord. And I always think I would much rather stand before the Lord and him say, gee, Tammie, you did a little too much.
Right.
Versus you didn't do enough. I would
I think
always
that's
err
why
on that side.
That's where I err too. It's like, well, it's better than standing still
Right.
and doing nothing and having the Lord say to me, well, I never said stop.
And you were a day away from this
Right,
person
and you
walking
know
through
what's
the
on
door,
the other side.
and you were going to be able to share the gospel with them, and you closed the
Right.
doors too early because you didn't have enough faith over money.
Right. Okay, yeah.
So
That should be a topic in itself, yes.
I err on
Undo.
just keep going.
Yeah.
But there is wisdom in it doesn't make sense anymore. And maybe we were there for such a time as this, and now the time is over. Like I can rationalize it.
We can
all
rationalize
different
it all.
ways.
Right.
So this question I struggle with because
Yeah.
I don't know when it's dead and when it's not dead.
But I do like the idea that if you're doing it in community,
Yeah.
you tend to get a better answer because there are people that aren't just like us. If you and I were making all the decisions,
Which we need to be purposeful about putting people in our life that aren't like us. Because you and I would just be like, we'll just do everything.
I don't know.
So that's
Those
why.
people are very hard to find.
They are, well, and they're very hard to deal with because they're negative nannies.
Yeah.
So, I mean, thinking of when I bring stuff like this, there's those that are just like, well,
Don't do it.
don't do it. Just close the doors, stop good. And those people I don't love either. I don't know. So
I
we
know.
didn't give you a
It
clear
is-
answer on
no.
that. I don't know. And we could go down a whole path of that.
This is where Rodney and I get in debates. It's
Yeah.
like when I think it's not dead and I'm going to keep going until, and he's like, you can't do that. And I'm like, oh, but I can.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, so many different things that have to do with legacy are like that. And like when we first were married, he was like, we can't do that. You can't do that. We can't, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And I'm like, oh, yes, we can. Like, come on, we're just going to keep doing it. And so that's probably where our biggest disagreements happen is when he has the air of caution, and I almost always say, no, we have to keep going.
Well, it's like that. Usually there's a saver and a spender. And
Right.
then there's one that's an adventurer and I want to go to a new vacation place every year and I want to go to the same place every year.
Yeah.
Usually in a marriage, you've got that. And I mean,
We do it on different topics. Like there's some where I'm like, no, we're not doing that.
interesting.
And he'll say, oh, come on, we can do that, right? So it's
Our
definitely
problem is the opposite. Sean and I are both
go.
to the point that we would bankrupt ourselves and we would not stop because we're just like, we're just going to keep going. And
Depends
so
on the topic at our house,
we are
interestingly.
both goers.
Yeah. Rodney and I, our
Goers.
makeups are the same, but in different categories. Like, it goes back, I guess, to what I was saying about when I'm, like, I prayed about it, like, I went on my retreat, I prayed about it, I thought that this was God was saying, and, like, I'm like, there's no turning back. Like, I'm sorry, you're just gonna have to get out of the way kind of thing, versus an opinion.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes when I hear from God, I have to be very, very careful to say, okay, God, you got to get whoever it is that I have to work with there, because I can't do it.
I'm there.
Because I'm there, I get it. What we did, this happened with tithing in our house.
Oh, I remember you telling me.
Yeah, years and years and years,
Yeah.
like a long time ago. I was like, well, I think
tithing.
we're tithing. And Rodney was like, we're not tithing initially. And so I said, well, I'm going to tithe my salary.
my earnings, yeah.
And I said, Lord, this is the best I can do. Like, I'm not going to get in a fight with him. I don't think that's what you want for us. And so you do your part. And so now he's like an over tither.
Yeah.
You know, so.
Yeah. That's
So
God. That's
anyway,
good. So,
okay.
all right, we're almost done. We have what? One
we
left.
recording?
Wait a minute. We're at 47. Yeah,
Quick.
I know. No, 42. Oh no, I can't see.
Oh,
Okay. We talked about buried dreams. It is well. I think we kind of covered those. So
Yeah.
I think we can
Yeah.
end there in the sense that our call to action for perseverance, all is well.
All is well. Are you going to tell us a joke?
Even if you're not persevering, all is well.
All is well.
You will start persevering. Yes, I will end this laughter one with a joke. Not quite
Are you
as
gonna
funny
read
as the
it?
joke. Yes, I have to read it. It's a long joke. Not quite as funny as the joke the one time I did. But it had perseverance, and we were Googling perseverance jokes. I was.
What did Alex's joke?
Oh, wait.
Wait.
It was his
If-
senior. If at first you don't succeed,
If your motto is at first don't succeed,
don't try
skydiving's not for you.
Skydiving's not for you.
Right. That's one of my children's
Senior quote.
senior quote. Thank you very much. That'll go down in history.
So this is a secret to a long marriage, which when we're talking
Oh.
about perseverance,
Good
you have
Lord, where's she
perseverance
gonna go
in a
with
marriage.
this one?
A reporter was doing a human interest story for a local newspaper and was interviewing an elderly couple who were celebrating 60 years of marriage. The obvious question
Okay,
the
that's
reporter
funny in
posed
itself.
was,
Just kidding. Just kidding.
the obvious question the reporter posed was, what's the secret to a long marriage? Oh, the man stated, it's all about perseverance. On our honeymoon, you see, we went to the Grand Canyon and rode on mules down the trail. Well, my new wife at the time, we just married, her mule bucked her off and she fell on the ground. She just got up and yelled, "That's one," and got right back on. Couple minutes, the mule did it again. She fell off, she gets up, she yells, "That's two," and got right back on. When the mule did it a third time, she yelled, "That's three," and she took out a gun and shot the mule dead. The reporter was just shocked at the story and asked, "How does that relate to a long marriage?" And the man replied, "Well, I told her that that was no way to treat a mule, and she looked at me and said, 'That's one.'" I thought that was good.
That was very funny.
That was funny.
There are
Perseverance.
those moments.
See?
And we both carry a gun.
We both carry guns. So
So watch out.
you can get shot or Shunammite.
Right,
It depends.
exactly.
Depends on the hot flash.
Depends on where we are in the hot flash cycle.
That could be a book title. I've been shot and Shunammited.
The hot flash cycle could be a book.
Oh, that's bad.
Oh,
All right.
Well, cheers.
13 out.
Yep. Done. Off.